Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity for me to be speaking in the second round of Manchester Matters today. I'm so proud to be talking to you about how Jordan, my country, has always been a home, away from home for the refugees that are coming from different countries. I'm also proud to say that currently Jordan is the top refugee hosting country in the world. I'm so proud to be there speaking about you for that. I will be starting my speech speaking about the location of Jordan and who are our neighbors. I can say that Jordan is a safe area in a war zone. So as you can see, from the west side, we have the ongoing Palestine-Israel conflict for almost 70 years, starting from 1948. Going to the east side, where we have Iraq war that resulted in splitting of the country and having many internal conflicts that are still going for 15 years now, starting from 2003. Moving towards the north, where we have the ongoing Syrian war for 6 and 7 years, and it's still going until the moment. As you can see, 3 out of the 4 borders of the country are war zones, leaving the country a bit relaxed in its south borders with Saudi Arabia. Sadly, these wars resulted in a death of hundreds of thousands of people, and as well as millions of refugees, and still counting. It also resulted in a huge instability that helped creating some terrorist bodies that don't represent anyone but themselves, that are increasing the level of violence and tension in the region. Jordan's population currently is approximately 9 million, which is only we have 3 million native Jordanians. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 1/3 of the population are native Jordanians and 67% of the population are refugees. What I say native, because there are 3 million, currently 3 million Palestinians that having the Jordan nationality, and they are like having the nationality counted as Jordanians. I will be starting by the effect of negative on all parties in Jordan when the Palestinian refugees, we accepted 2.8 million refugees between the period from 1948 to 1967. Those 2.8 million represent 50% of Palestine population and 100% of Jordan's population at that time. It's like having all the Jamaican nationals moving into a country at a certain point of time. They were given the nationality straight away to make them feel at home and pass them through their difficult time with all rights and duties. The country provided simple refugee camps for living, but healthcare and education was provided in high quality. In 2003 onwards, and as a result of, as I said, Iraq war, Jordan accepted 800,000 to 1 million refugees during that period. This represents 3% of Iraq population and 17% again of the Jordan population, including the Palestinians at that time. Again, it's like having all the Estonians moving into a country, Estonian nationals moving into a country at a certain point of time. They were given the rights to work, to own properties, to education and healthcare, but not the nationality, because they can always come back home whenever the war is over and the conflict is done there. Unfortunately, 15 years have passed, almost 15 years has passed, and the situation is getting worse and worse. The economical impact has been huge on Jordan after accepting Iraqi refugees. It affected Jordan's trade deficit, infrastructure and resources. We have seen rent and commodity prices going up dramatically because of the high demand from the new arrivals. At the same time, wages were going down because those refugees are competing with Jordanians in the same job market, and there were more jobs created when they arrived. So it was a huge negative effect on the economy, but the leadership and citizens didn't consider that as a big problem against what we were doing on serving our neighbors and helping them during their tough situation. Although the effect was negative when Iraqi refugees arrived, as I explained, in 2011, lately, in 2011 and onwards, Jordan accepted 1.7 million refugees from Syria as a result of the internal war that is happening there. It was clear to all Jordanians that it's going to be a disaster for the economy, but really the country was left without a choice, nothing to do. Recently, 25% of Jordan's national budget was spent to cover the costs of the refugees that are living in our country. That means having more borrowings from the international banks, sliding the country more into debt, and so on. But as a citizen living there, I'm thinking, and I believe, that Jordan cannot take any more. So this can lead to a very good question, like what the rest of the world can do for that. And for the refugees themselves, they were normal human beings living their lives normally. They were forced to leave their countries and just to live and survive, leaving everything behind, just to live and survive. So we have to help them. We have to do whatever we can to help them. Help doesn't have to be money. It can be a skill you have to provide, a service you can do, or it can only be by keeping them in our thoughts and praying for them. I would like to show a speech of by the end of this speech, my speech, I would like to show a speech of our leader, King Abdullah II, the King of Jordan, speaking in Belgium last year.
When the small trickle of refugees started hitting Europe, then there was a bit more sympathy, I think, to Jordan for what we were doing, let alone the challenges that you're facing now. But the challenge is we've gotten to literally saturation point. How many more people can we take? There are people who ask me in our country, we can't take any more. And we have 1.3 million people for a population of about 7 million. Like I said, if we would do it an example of Belgium, it's like you taking 2 million people in 5 years' time. My question is to a person who asked me that question, when a mother and a child come across the border, what are we supposed to do? Shoot? Is that what the orders that we give to our soldiers? Because they don't come across border crossing points. They come across no man's land where people are trying to kill them. Those that are trying to come to Europe are coming to Europe to escape persecution. They're leaving a country that they love, that they want to get back to, but they want a better life. It's not a choice that they want to make unless they have to. How do you stop a young woman pregnant with a child in her arm? It's a moral question. So we still take people in, although we know we can't afford to do that. So the question too, and I know the argument that is in Europe, but as difficult as it is for our country, and we are suffering, we still take people in.
The leadership concern was in providing healthcare for all the refugees, and most importantly, providing education, because it's the first defense line, not only against poverty and unemployment, but against the extremist terrorists that are targeting young and uneducated people. Again, thank you for the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for listening.